How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and today we're going to be taking a look at Lucid and SOFI. So let's see how Lucid performed on Friday. So it ended up closing at 18.25, being up 0.05%. When we take a look at the volume on the day, you can see it was at 16.504 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 14.529 million shares. So we had above average volume. And now when we take a look at our chart, which is the daily chart, the first thing I want to bring to your attention is our stochastics. You can see that we are in an oversold position, and we want to see Lucid gain some momentum for this coming week. We also want to pay attention to the price action here. So you can see around the $17.80 level, we've been finding support here for the past 4 trading days. So what are we looking for? We want to see a bounce. Can we go back to reclaim the 50-day moving average, which is at 1863? This is very doable. I know we did see a high at 1829, but if we break above it, that's the level you want to watch. And then essentially wanting to see it get to the 20-day moving average, which is at $19.20. You are well aware that $20 is also a psychological area for the play. As far as for the bearish case scenario, if we decide to break through the 1780 area, then the next level that you can see Lucid pulling back to will be right here around the 1630s. And if it breaks below 1630s, that's where you want to see support holding up here around 15.5. Another thing that I want to bring to your attention is the Fibonacci. So let me get rid of all of these drawings so you guys could see me draw these levels out for you guys. So we're going off of the high. So where we peaked here back on March the 30th, this is where we're going to start for our retracement. You can see that we have the golden pocket, which is between 61 and as well as 65. It starts at 22.46. If you remember what I said, that Lucid needs to get to 22.50 to show some strength, not a shocker. And then when we take a look on the high range here, it is right here around $23. So just taking that into consideration, if Lucid gets into this golden pocket area, so let's say if they give a surprise on earnings, we want to see buyers stepping in, taking positions to move it up further. The 200-day moving average is at $28.15. So Lucid needs to get to this level in order for it to get out of the bear market that it's currently in. So add that to your notes. And if we decide to have a pullback, like I was saying, from the current levels, you want to find support coming in right here around 1685. That's where we have the 23% right on our Fibonacci's. And if we end up breaking through it, again, you guys already know what it looks like. So let's take a look at the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Lucid. Scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings for the 29th, we have McCallrath Eck LLC that purchased 473 shares, Russell Investments Group Limited that purchased 38,724 shares. We also have Automotive Portfolio that purchased 49,385 shares. We also have ACES Alps Clean Energy ETF that purchased over 1.5 million shares. We have a closed position here, and we also have Trainer Capital Management Inc. with 17,312 shares. Oh, that was actually for the 28th, and we covered that already. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 57.38%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 3.07 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 550,000, updated 2 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 12.83%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 28th, it's at 54.73, and then for the close of the 29th, being at 57.38. So it has gone up, and then when we take a look at the short interest percentage of the float, being at 21.79%, Lucid does continue to have short squeeze potential. So taking a look at SOFI, we closed at $6.31, being up 0.16%, so fairly flat day. And then when we take a look at the volume, you can see we traded at 19.059 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 19.61 million. So right around the average there. And now when we take a look at our chart, which is the daily chart, when we see our stochastics here, you can see that we kind of broke below the halfway point, but now it looks like we are starting to curl up. So SOFI has earnings on Tuesday, and from what I'm seeing so far, we're using that 20-day moving average as support. It is right around 625, and you can see we weekly close at 631. So if we can continue to hold it and we can cross above that 50-day moving average, it can get very interesting. We saw a high at 637, but if we get that full out crossover, we want price action above 655. Remember what I said about that 650 range? Very significant. If we can break above that, then we make that move going to $7, which is a psychological area for the play. Again, I feel for SOFI to make this bit of a move, especially with price action being above $7, we need to have some solid earnings. And with that said, looking for that move to go to $8 plus. If it decides to stop riding along this 20-day moving average and it wants to break down, the next area of support you want to watch is around $5.78. If we break $5.78, then the next area where we could see some support kicking in will be right here around $5.17. So that's a range you want to be aware of if it decides to go bearish prior to earnings, or if they end up releasing some earnings that are not good, we go back to visiting these levels and also potentially and breaking down to these 52-week lows around 482. So that's pretty much what the downside looks like. I'm going to get rid of these drawings now, and I want to show you guys the Fibonacci on SOFI. So we're going off of our swing high to swing low here. Let's see what we got for SOFI here. So we have the golden pocket, which is right here around 838, and as well as for 851. And right now where we see SOFI, it's very crucial to see if you can get to the 38% level at $7, right on the nose there. So that's why if we have that break above this level, the next area you'd want to watch is right here around 770. This lines up perfectly. We have resistance on this area back on the 27th of May. We also saw it here on the 31st, and we also saw it on June the 1st. So 770 is going to be an area to watch very closely for that break to see if we can get to $8. As far as $8 is concerned, we saw resistance there on the 20th, and we also saw it here on the 19th. But a break above it would send us into that golden pocket, and then we want to see buyers wanting to step in and push it up further. And with the 200-day moving average being at 1148, if SOFI got to this level, I could see some continued momentum and more buyers wanting to come in my personal opinion. But depending on the market conditions, this could also be an area where shorts might want to take a position, then play it to the downside. Let's move on to the short interest. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for SOFI. Scrolling down on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. When we take a look at the recent filings for the 29th, we have Emerald Advisors LLC that purchased 5,800 shares, and then we have Russell Investments Group Limited that purchased 49,778 shares. And then we see Avidian Wealth Solutions LLC that purchased 69,856 shares, and the others we have already covered. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 46.08%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 3.92 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 10 million, updated 5 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 1.75%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 28th, it was at 49.61, and then for the close of the 29th, being at 46.08. And then when we take a look at the short interest percentage of the float being at 19.01%, the SOFI does continue to have short squeeze potential. So that pretty much sums up the video for Lucid and for SOFI. Both of these stocks do have earnings for the coming week. Look out for more videos that I'm going to be releasing prior to that. And if you guys enjoyed this format in regards to the video, let me know inside of the comment sections, and make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more quality content like this. We'll talk soon.